Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here, and I'm bringing you guys a pre-game stream for the Washington football team versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Week 10 matchup. It's a big game for both teams, but Washington obviously is the underdog coming into this game. So I'm just gonna be giving you guys some pre-game updates on who's active, who's inactive, some other news, especially about Ryan Fitzpatrick. Looks like he's expected to be out for the year, which is unfortunate. We paid him $12 million, I guess $10 million, with up to $12 million in incentives, but he probably did not meet those incentives. So unfortunate circumstances right there, but it is what it is at this point. The season is likely lost, so him coming back really wouldn't make that much of a difference. And I appreciate everyone for coming through to these streams. So let's get into some of the inactives and actives. So Brandon Sheriff is back this week. Cornelius Lucas is back. William Jackson is back, and De'Ami Brown. All those guys are back. Sam Cosmi is also back, but he is not going to start. He's going to be an emergency player. So if they need him, I guess he'll be available. But if not, they're going to, keep him, healthy for another week. Let him heal a little bit more. What's up, Tyler C? What's up, Enzo Gaming? And what's up, Luke Sports Center? Yeah, I don't think they're going to re-sign him. Honestly, with the injury and how it's taking him a while to recover, longer than most people thought. I would not be surprised if he does retire after this year. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but yeah, Cosme. It's good that he's at least really close to being back. I definitely expect him to be back next week, starting, and then it's good Brandon Sheriff's back. Tyler Larson will start at center, and then William Jackson is back, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but eventually he's gonna have to gel with this defense, and he's gonna have to play better. Benjamin St. Juste is out. That's a big blow because he's probably been our best corner. Kendall Fuller has been better as of late, but overall for the season, I think Benjamin St. Juste has been our best corner, and that's not even saying much. Benjamin St. Juste has been okay this year. Good for a third round pick, but okay overall as a corner. For people in the chat, go ahead and give me your score predictions for today's game. I'm saying 27-19 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers edging it out. They do have some injuries on offense. They're missing AB and Rob Gronkowski and Scotty Miller, but Chris Godwin is playing. We'll see how limited he is, but he is playing, and they still got Tom Brady under center. They still got Mike Evans. They still got Chris Godwin, and they have a good offensive line. So we got to get interior pressure on Tom Brady if we want any chance of winning this game. And honestly, I'm not obviously I want the win, but if we can keep it competitive, if we can make this a competitive game, I'll be, somewhat pleased with that. What's up, Casper Hill? Because it's going to be hard to make the playoffs this year, but if we can keep this competitive, I will be, somewhat satisfied. And yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, Tyler. Like, I think Tampa's going to win, but of course, it would be really nice if we did end up winning. And then obviously also some other news: Tyler Larson is starting at center, and then DeAndre Carter will be getting more snaps. Because Curtis Samuel has been out, so he's probably going to get some more snaps. And like we said, Cornelius Lucas is at right tackle. I mean, I guess I get the move. You don't want to, you know really rush Cosme, but it's unfortunate that he hasn't been here. He hasn't played in a while, and then also like they kind of mismanaged it. They just should have put him on IR. I think this is his fourth missed game. Like, yeah, or I guess he's going to be active for this game, so it doesn't really matter. But they definitely could have put him on IR and elevated someone from the practice squad or signed a veteran to replace Cosme, or just get someone else on the roster. But they didn't do that. They could have done with that with Curtis Samuel, and some other they did with Logan Thomas, but some other players as well, Brandon Sheriff. So I think they've definitely mismanaged, the IR situation this year. Enzo Gaming says, I think it depends how Heineke plays. If he plays against the Bucks like he did last year, then maybe, yeah. I mean, he has to play like he did last year. He has to, just play like Taylor Heineke, wants to, like how he wants to play. Don't play conservative. Don't slide 3 yards before, anyone's near him. I want him to be aggressive, go out of the pocket, make some plays with your legs, take some shots down the field as well. I think he has to be aggressive throughout this game because we're not going to win this game, being conservative on offense because we are playing the Bucs. We are playing Tom Brady, who right now is still one of the better quarterbacks in the league, top 3, top 5 quarterback in the NFL. So we're not going to win just trying to get 20 points. We're going to have to score more than that if we want to win today. And we'll see. It should. I'm really hoping we can keep this competitive so that it'll give me some at least a little bit of confidence for what we see in the second half of the season. So real quick, we're gonna do some of our win view picks. I want you guys also to answer some of these in the chat. So I'll pull it up and you guys answer the questions with me. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, if he went against Shaq Barrett, that would be tough. So that could also be why they're keeping him out. But I think he could handle it. Okay, so let's see. First question: Heineke. Okay, Heineke records a rush of 15 yards or more in the game. I'm gonna say no on that one. He's gonna have more than 15 yards rushing, but 15 yards on one rush, he hasn't done that. I don't think in a while. He might have done it at the end of the Packers game in garbage time on the last play of the game, but besides that, I haven't seen him do it in a long time. Yeah, Tyler, I totally agree. Got to get some deep shots to Terry this game, even DeAndre Carter as well, maybe even someone like De'Ami Brown. And then I also want them to involve Adam Humphries and Dax Milne a little bit more in this game. Tampa Bay wins by 8 or more points. I'm going to say yes on this one. I'm going to say yes. I have it being an 8-point game, 27 to 19. So yeah, let's see. Washington records at least 2 rushing touchdowns in the game. I'm also going to go no on this one. Maybe Gibson or Patterson, they get 1 rushing touchdown. But then, yeah, I don't know. We haven't gotten many rushing touchdowns this year. Gibson has a couple. McKissick has 1 or 2, and then Patterson doesn't have one yet. So I'm just going to put 500 on that. Tom Brady throws 1 or fewer interceptions in this game. I'm gonna go yes. I don't see, yeah, I definitely think that he might throw 1, but that's it. Unless he gets unlucky, I doubt that happens. Terry McLaurin records 75 or more receiving yards in this game. I'm gonna say yes, just because he's had a couple quiet weeks in a row, or at least last week was quiet. And I think they're not gonna let that happen again. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers secondary, it's still a little bit banged up, not as much as some people say, but their best corner still is out. What's up, James? What's up, Casper? Appreciate you guys for coming through. So I'm gonna go yes on Terry. I really hope, really hope this ends up hitting because if he deserves to have a big game and deserves to have get paid at the end of the season, and hopefully we can pay him at the end of the season or after the season's over before he gets available to free agency after next season. So I'm gonna put we'll go 750 on that one. I'm gonna say Terry gets 6 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown. Any player records 2 or more full sacks in this game. I'm gonna go no on that one. Both teams have solid offensive lines, so I don't think anyone will get 2 or more sacks. Mike Evans catches a touchdown pass. That's tough. Yeah, I feel I got him on a couple fantasy teams too, and he's just so boomer bust in fantasy. It's like either has a really good game or not so good of a game. Let's see. Mike Evans catches a touchdown. I'm gonna go yes, just because Antonio Brown's out. Chris Godwin's banged up. Scotty Miller isn't playing. Rob Gronkowski isn't playing. So I'm gonna put a lot on that. I'm gonna go 750, and I'm gonna say he does score a touchdown in this game. Yeah. So let's see. The longest play of the game is a passing game. I'm also gonna say yes on that one. Both defenses have good, rush defenses. We do this year. We have a pretty good run defense, and they have a very, very good run defense. So I think that both teams will pass a lot more than they run. Let's see. Yeah, Chubb's out. I have Chubb on one of my teams too. I picked up Ramondre Stevenson from the Patriots. He should get some good opportunities today. And yeah, Peter D, I agree. DeAndre should get plenty of opportunities. Involve him in the offense. He's been pretty good this year when we've given him those opportunities. So I agree with you. And yes, I mean Tyler, that's both offensively and defensively. We have to play way, way, way better in the red zone, especially offensively. So each team makes at least one field goal of 40 or more yards. So I don't know. I think that definitely could happen. So I'm going to do the risk free right here. And I think it could definitely happen. Leonard Fournette records more total rushing yards than Gibson. I'm going to say yes, just because, our backfield, especially last game we played, was more of a running back by committee. We had Patterson getting more carries than Gibson. McKissick was getting some carries. Gibson's still got double digits, but I'm going to say Leonard Fournette gets more rushing yards than Antonio Gibson. So, yeah, that is it right there. We finished the WinView picks. So, make sure you guys go ahead and check them out. I'll read a couple things from them. WinView is the nation's leading sports predictor, allowing you to compete in pregame or live contests against other people and not the house. You answer 8 questions about each game before it begins, or you can play in quarter-long contests. While you're watching, you can play against your friends. You can just do a head-to-head, and new users get a first-time deposit bonus of up to $200, and you can play your first $20 risk-free. Redskin 007 says, got to get this dub. Hey, I hope, and I think the only way it happens is if Heineke plays like he did in the playoffs. Last couple games has been a little bit disappointing. Last few games have been a little bit disappointing from, Taylor Heineke. So let's hope he can turn around and play like he did in that Falcons game, in that Giants game, in the game against the Bucks in the playoffs. Let's see. Yeah, I think JD McKissick's gonna have a huge game. Like if you have him in fantasy, unless your team's absolutely stacked, I would definitely start JD McKissick just because. I mean, the Bucks' run defense is really good, so teams don't really run on them. And I think Jaden McKissick's going to get a lot of attempts, or going to get a lot of targets in the passing game. They do have Devin White and Levante David, so it might be a little bit of a tough matchup. But I do think he's going to get a decent amount of catches, or at least he should. I think Scott Turner should involve him a lot, and he'll get some rushes as well. But I don't see us running a ton. Probably a few less carries, that a few less rush attempts than we usually do. And yeah, I agree. Redskin 007. JD only has bad games when he doesn't get touches. Yeah, whenever we get him targets, especially in the passing game, he usually has big games. Last game against the Broncos had a huge game, and I like that Scott Turner involved him because the Broncos' weakness was their linebackers because they were super super in like all their linebackers were pretty much out. So I thought that was good by Scott Turner. Could have even used him a little bit more because he got 8 catches for I can't remember what it was, but he got targeted 8 times. So he caught every single um ball that was thrown to him. Peter D says William Jackson, has he been playing on a bad knee all year? I'm not sure. I mean, it might have been a little bit. I think it might be a little bit banged up. Like earlier in the season, but I'm not gonna give him that many excuses. He just has been disappointing, and he's kind of forced the defense to play a little bit more man coverage, which is not their strength. It's not their strength. This defense is good in zone coverage, and the last couple weeks they've played more zone. They've played more zone, and they've been successful. And that's with William Jackson out. Alexander Wilson says even the film review showed Heineke left a lot on the field. In the Giants, yes, and especially the last couple of games. Uh, you know, the Packers game, I mean, obviously he, ducked down right before the, goal line, but there was other plays too that, were really unfortunate that we had a lot of points left on the table. The Bills game, as well. Even in that Packers game, like Terry, he was great, but he did drop a touchdown. So I mean, especially in the red zone, we're leaving a lot of points on the table, but it's gonna be Heineke for the rest of the year unless he really starts playing bad, and then it's Kyle Allen. I definitely could see if Heineke has a game where he's like throwing 3 picks or something. Maybe he gets benched mid-game and they make a decision for next week, in the middle of the week. But Fitzpatrick, like you guys see on the title, he's out for the year, likely. And even if he's ready, like week 15, week 16, why would they bring him back? Especially unless they make a crazy turn and they're a game or so out of the playoffs. But if they do that, it's probably because the defense is playing better, but also Heineke or whoever the quarterback is playing better. So I don't think Fitzpatrick is gonna, play this year, which is unfortunate. It's really, really unfortunate because, we paid him a lot, not a lot of money, but $10 million. And, he played 16 snaps. We paid Curtis Samuel over $10 million, and he's played 27 snaps for us. Really, really unfortunate. And Alexander Wilson, yeah. I mean, I don't know if taking sacks are worse than picks, but they're pretty bad, especially the long sacks. And Heineke, especially in that Broncos game, we had chances in the red zone or close to the red zone to score, and he took some bad, bad sacks. So the offensive line was not great in that game, but still, you've got to learn to throw it away because, second and 10 is so much better than second and 18 because once you're a second and 15 or you got to get 15 yards or more on second or third down, you're really done for because it's just way, way harder. So, yeah, got to throw the ball away quicker or just, make your decision quicker and get it to the receiver or run out of the pocket and do something with his legs. I mean, that's what he did. When he has looked good, it's because he's getting out of the pocket and creating things with his legs. Except for maybe the Giants game, he didn't do that much. Uh, you know, he didn't run that much. But besides that, the Falcons game, the Bucks game, and a couple other games, he used his legs, and that's a big reason why we won this game. The season is on the line. I mean, if we win this game, we're somewhat back in it. If we lose, we're pretty much right where we are right now. And our schedule is a lot easier in the second half, but we would pretty much have to win out if we lose this game, or at least only lose one game, which again, very, very unlikely. But our schedule is easier. We play the Cowboys twice, which is tough. Seahawks and Raiders, but we play the Panthers, Eagles twice, and the Giants, which are easier games than what we've played so far. So, and I talked about it yesterday in my video. If you guys didn't watch it, go ahead and watch it after the stream. I talked about why I think the Washington football team's defense is starting to turn a corner. And, if they can play better in the second half of the season, that'll be really, really encouraging, especially for next year, because this defense is going to be mostly the same next year. Maybe a couple switches, maybe a couple a few backup changes, and maybe one or two starter changes. Like I think Landon Collins, unless he agrees to restructure his contract, he's probably gone. Maybe they lose a corner. Maybe Kendall. I've liked what Kendall Fuller's done the last couple weeks, but maybe they want to move on from him and draft the guy in like the first. They want to draft a guy in the first round. Um, but this defense needs to play better because, like I said, this group right here is gonna be the group that is gonna be here next year. The offense is gonna look way different because they're probably gonna have a different quarterback. They're gonna have a different, yeah, they will likely have a different quarterback. They're gonna have Curtis Samuel back, hopefully, and they're gonna have a couple other pieces as well. I mean, I wouldn't say we didn't play good in that game. I think at one point we were down by one or something. I mean, we weren't super super close to winning that game, but we had a chance to tie at the end of the game. So I'm not going to say we played bad, in that game. Our defense did play bad in that game. They played terrible, but our offense was pretty good. Heineke was good in that game. That was probably his best game. That or the Giants or Falcons game. He played pretty well in those games, but he hasn't had a good game in a while. So let's hope Heineke can step it up this week. And if you guys are just coming in, I'll read you guys the inactives, and then we'll answer a few questions, and then call it a day. So Sam Cosmi is back this week, but only as a backup, not because he's going to be a backup for a while. Just he's the emergency right tackle. So if someone goes down, if Cornelius Lucas goes down, he can go ahead and step in for him. But if that doesn't happen, he's not going to play. Brandon Sheriff is back. William Jackson is back. De'Ami Brown is back, but Logan Thomas is not back. Benjamin St. Juste is out. So and Curtis Samuel is still out. So, I think maybe we'll get Logan Thomas back next week. Hopefully Benjamin St. Juste is back next week. That is definitely a concerning situation. Two concussions in like 5 weeks. That is not good. That is not good at all, because once you start piling those up, not only does the recovery time take more time, but it takes longer to recover, but also it gets easier and easier to get concussions. Once you get that fourth concussion, the next one is a lot easier to get. So hopefully, and those are a lot of those things are unlucky, especially at corner. So let's hope he is fine, and he's good to go. I guess this happened at practice or something because you know we've had the bye week, and I didn't see anything in the game, so I don't know. Yeah, I think Lucas is definitely better than Sadiq at this point at right tackle. So he's not even look. Sam Cosmi has been good this year, but so is Cornelius Lucas. So he's not a huge drop off from Cosmi to Lucas. And then we have Brendan Sheriff back this week, which should be a help. And Larson is going to be starting at center. So let's see. Redskin 007 says, I just want Heineke to let it loose, whatever happens. Yes, I totally agree. Just let it loose. Take those shots down the field because there's been, like Alexander Wilson said, there's been points, left on the field, especially on some deep passes. Like De'Ami Brown in that Bucks game could have had a touchdown or two on a long pass. Terry McLaurin was open. Gibson was open, all for 40, 50-plus yard gains if the throw was made to them. And it's just unfortunate. He has to see the field a little bit better. And also, I mean, you can see the limitations with him sometimes where the receiver's open. He makes the read, somewhat quickly. But the thing is, he throws it. And it just does not have enough zip on it. He doesn't have the arm strength, and the defender almost picks it off. That's happened a couple times. So I mean, he's got to make his reads quicker. Even though he's making it at an average time, he's got to do it quicker because he doesn't have the arm strength. He just doesn't. And you can see that. I mean, Terry's sometimes wide open, but he throws it and it just doesn't get there in time. What's up, Ed Oliver? Appreciate you coming through. Let's see. He says, "What's your score prediction?" I'm gonna say 27-19. Bucks are kind of, injured right now on offense with, Gronk out, with AB out. So I'm going to say 27-19 with Joey Sly missing an extra point because he's been good on field goals this year, 85%, but his extra points have been a little bit iffy. So I'm going to say 19-28. Bucks win. I think, I just hope the defense shows up. If they can allow 27 or less, I know that's not great, but against the Bucks, in my opinion, that's good enough, and it'll have me encouraged about them in the second half of the season, especially going up against lesser competition. So that's what I'm looking in this game. And Chase Young has to step up. Chase Young has to step up. Montez Sweat is out. He's going to have more attention on him, but I don't care. He's got to step up. This has been super disappointing year for Chase Young. 1.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. That is not close to enough. I was expecting 12, 13 plus sacks for him this year, and he has 1.5 at the, midway point of the season. So he has to step it up, especially with Montez Sweat out. But interior pressure is what gets Tom Brady. So let's hope Jonathan Allen can continue what he's been doing, and let's hope Jerron Payne and Matt Ioannidis can step it up a little bit. And get some pressure on him too. I mean, that's really going to be the only way we can make this a competitive game. And if Heineke can play like he did in that Bucks game in the playoffs, run around outside of a pocket, that will go a long way for us. Roger says, if we come out and look bad, let me see. Sorry, comment went away. If we come out and look bad fundamentally, questions need to be asked. Does Ron need to make changes as far as OC and DC? I mean, here's the thing with me on the offensive coordinator. Like, Scott Turner has not been great this year. I know you're not a fan at all of Scott Turner. I know Ed's not a fan, but I just look at what he has going for him with like 7 starters out. He still doesn't have a great quarterback. Like, I get what you guys are saying. Sometimes the play calling is just like, I'm like, what is he doing? Why is he not running on 4th and inches or 4th and 1? Why is he doing this? Why is, JD McKissick getting goal line carries? Sometimes I'm like that, but at the same time, he schemes stuff open, and just sometimes the quarterback doesn't execute. The quarterback just misses a throw that, needs to be made, or the receiver drops it, or just something crazy happens. What's up, One Life Music? Defensive coordinator, if the defense doesn't turn around, if they play like they were, the first 7 weeks of the season, and I think right now they're 27th, 28th, maybe 29th in terms of, yards per game or points per game. So if they end up still being outside of the, top 25 at the end of the year, then I'm definitely considering switching up Jack Del Rio, getting him out of here, and definitely I would try to move on from Sam Mills. I do not like him at all. Here's the thing. Yes, Chase Young has been disappointing, and that a lot of it is on him. And Montez Sweat has been okay, but he hasn't been. I thought he was going to be a little bit better this year, but still, you got two like athletic freaks, two of the most talented defensive ends in all of football, and those guys right now are primarily relying on their athleticism, and they're just crazy. They're just freaks of nature. They're relying on that to get to the quarterback, not actual pass rush moves. It's because Sam Mills is not developing them properly. And some people might say, well, hey, Jonathan Allen is balling out. Well, he played here under Jim Tom Sula, and he had a good year last year. Didn't get the sack numbers, but had a great year. But he had like 8-year sack numbers before this year, and he learned a lot of that from Jim Tom Sula. I'm not really impressed with Sam Mills. I think he needs to be gone after this year. And yes, Roger, I agree with that too. I mean, I think a lot of his sacks, almost all of them last year, came on the right side against the left tackle. And that's really like that's on Sam Mills, that's on Jack Del Rio. But really, at least one change that needs to be made. It's not a big one, but I want Sam Mills gone. I'm not a huge fan of him. This defensive line hasn't been bad, but the Chase Young and Montez Sweat, especially Chase Young, he needs to be better. But Sam Mills has to develop him, especially develop his pass rush moves. Let's see. Kevin Sheehan said that Sam Mills helped the team turn around last year. He challenged the team in 2020 and they stepped up. Yes, but also, I mean, a lot of the players were frustrated with him last year entering training camp. And, I think Kevin said it, or maybe it was Kime, that some of them are still frustrated with him. So I would say if they turn it around the second half of the season, like I think they can, and Chase Young looks good, then maybe you can keep them around. But if they look, if the defense doesn't turn around and Chase Young at the end of the season has like 4 sacks, that's when I'm like, okay, Sam Mills, you might need to go get someone else. Jim Tom Sula would have been amazing, but he didn't want to stay here, especially after Jay Gruden left. So I think that is going to do it for the pregame stream pretty quick. But there's some other Washington content creators that are going to be streaming in a little bit. I know Street Scores, Rico, and then Juan are going to be doing a stream for the game. So hopefully we can get the win. I don't think so, but if we can keep it competitive, I'll be satisfied. Right? I know a lot of people don't like talking about draft picks at all, but I think right now we're fifth in the order. I don't expect that to be the case at the end of the season, but that's just something to consider right there. So appreciate you guys. Javion or Javon says Pickett or Willis. I'm going Pickett for sure. I really really like Pickett. He's more of a finished product, but Wills is just too much of a project for me. I really like Pickett. Him and Matt Corral are kind of like the quarterback one, quarterback two. Like I'm really just they're pretty close for me. Those two quarterbacks, Pickett and Corral. But I like Pickett. I really like him. I think he's the most NFL ready quarterback out of this class. He's got a good deep ball. He's not super mobile, but he's mobile enough. He's mobile enough. So I like Pickett. I like Corral, and what's his name? Willis is super, super, super talented, but he's a big project. It's gonna take a while to develop him. Like he might be more raw than someone like Trey Lance. But you guys go ahead, name me your quarterback one, Roger, Tyler C, everyone in the chat, name me your quarterback one, and then we'll call it a day. But I mean, there's no clear-cut quarterback one in this class, which is interesting because we could get the quarterback one, but no one's gonna know at pick 10, pick 11. Um, yes, Alexander, I definitely agree with that. If you draft a quarterback, history says that you're not going to make the playoffs, especially if you start him. Then that's definitely the case. Unless you have a guy like RG3 or someone that just comes in already balling out, then you're not going to make the playoffs. And usually those quarterbacks that do ball out early on are running quarterbacks, are dual threat quarterbacks because they can rely more on their legs instead of their arm talent, and they don't have to process the game, that quickly. So that's the thing. If you do draft a quarterback, it's going to be hard to win next year unless you do sign a bridge quarterback that can, hold it down for you. So that's why I obviously would try to get a veteran like Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Watson, or even Matt Ryan, but that's just unlikely. It's very, very unlikely. It's going to be hard to get one of those guys to come here. It just really is. So it might have to be a guy that you draft. And I just, whatever it is, they've got to get someone this year, whether it's a guy in trade, a veteran in a trade, or you got to get a guy in the first 2 rounds of this draft, preferably a first round guy. Alexander Wilson, appreciate the donation. And yeah, that's why I would rather get a veteran, but the veterans, there's really good options, but I just don't think any of those guys will come here unless we have a really, really good turnaround. So let's see. A lot of people are saying Pickett. Yeah, Willis, One Life Music, he has a lot of talent. It's just like, are you willing to wait maybe 2 years before he can actually start for you, or a year and a half or 2 years before he can actually be a contributor for you? Because like Alexander Wilson says, a lot of the teams this year who are starting quarterbacks are struggling. The Jaguars, the Jets, they've been playing better without Zach Wilson. The Bears, the Patriots are an exception, but they were drafting in the middle of the first round, and they are the Patriots. He's been, and the thing with him is that he was the most NFL ready quarterback coming out of the draft. So that's the thing. The one quarterback you might possibly be able to win with this year or next year is Pickett, just because he is more of a finished product. He's played 5 years, so he's a fifth year senior, so maybe, but still unlikely. Rogers likes Ritter. I don't know if he's gonna. We'll see. Let's see. Ritter is the one. After we move back into the first, about 16 or 20, take the linebacker to Utah with our first pick, put a package together with Payne and a future pick, sign Mariota as our bridge. I mean, I'm not like a huge fan of Ritter, but I do like some of his traits. I don't know where he's gonna go, but we'll see. Yeah, last rookie to lead his team to the playoffs was Dak in 2016. So yeah, it's been a while. And yeah, I mean, you got to be somewhat of a mobile threat usually if you want to have an immediate impact. I'm okay on Sam Howell. Like, I'm not a huge fan of him, but I still think he's going to be one of the first quarterbacks taken. And he's still solid. It's just like his offensive line situation is really tough at UNC. So I think he's probably still in my top three, definitely top four. But I have Pickett and Matt Corral over him. And then after that, it's pretty tough. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy the stream. And let's hope we can get this win, or at least keep it competitive. And let's hope this defense can start to turn around. Appreciate you guys coming through to the stream. And I will have a video out after the game, but it might be a little bit later than usual. Might be out like at 5:30. Thanks for coming through, guys, and peace.